Oh, hello, everybody. I need to be a little bit of that music on here again. There we go. Can put a little bit in the background here. So one of the things we do is want to test kind of how things work, and then putting a little music in the background. As noted in the title screen, it's a song called "Sweet Pea" by Aiden Taylor, who is our oldest here. And yeah, it's well, thank you, Darren. Very cool. I'm glad you like it. And we have people coming on in. It's wonderful. And so we're testing a couple of things here. So we're right now going. So some people can't hear me though too. So and we're getting. All right. So yeah, there is a person here. It's me. And thank you. So we're testing a couple of things here. So it's about what works going live and what doesn't. And yeah, it's interesting when you're going live on multiple platforms and how it all looks and how it all works. So we're using a couple of things here. We're using a Restream type of thing, and I'm using Ecamm here. So Ecamm is the hub. Yes. And I know the music did stop. Yes. I turned it off because I wanted to make sure that you could hear me and the music, but I think you're both right now. So when you're going live to a bunch of places too, you want to see how well it's going to all work together. And yeah, so I can put the gain up on the mics. It's a great point, but I want to make sure that you find that sweet spot between the gain on the mic and not having too much of that, a little bit of a static in the background. So yeah, and I like it. And thank you, Darian. This is the Shure SM7B, which is really awesome. So Rob's asking a question here is about what multiple platforms, also, in conjunction with Ecamm, exactly what this is right now. So I'm going to show you kind of what I'm looking at right now. So what I have here is, this is Restream. So you connect Restream with your platforms. So wherever you have your platforms here, this is where right now I'm going live. So I have to bring this up right now. Sorry, because this is very cool. Mark says, "Hey, I remember you as my professor at Sharon. Hi, and hello to you, Mark." Man, I loved being a prof at Sharon. It was so much better. So yes, I miss teaching there. I'm glad. Well, you remember me, so I'm not sure if I was good or not. But if you enjoyed it, that was awesome. And if not, don't say anything because it concerns me greatly. So, yeah. So, great question here as well. Are you controlling which comments hit the screen? And the answer is yes. And so I have a little thing on the right-hand side of my Ecamm here where it pulls in the comments from Restream down into Ecamm, and Ecamm allows me to do this type of display right now for the comments. And one of the things about this is, so here's all my platforms I'm going live to. It shows offline right now because I took a screenshot right before I went live just now. So here's kind of all the places you can go live at once, and there's more on the list depending on Restream was originally, I believe, was built with a lot of streaming gaming involved, because there's a lot of, not just Twitch as you see on here, which I have, I think, one follower on Twitch, but it's used to go off multi-platforms. Now the great thing about Restream, one of the biggest benefits of this is I send the signal out of my computer here through my internet connection, one signal going to one place, which is restream.io. And then Restream itself takes it on their server and then pushes it out. So I'm not getting that pull, that lag through my connection, especially that upload, which is always much slower than the download. And that's really important when you're going live, especially. It's the back and forth. It's the ability to be able to go back and forth like this and show what you can do. It's fun. And Chelsea, and hi, Chelsea, good to see you. I'm enjoying it too. And hello, Terry, good to see you as well. Yeah, so it's a cool thing, but here's one of the things right now. So one of the things I want to talk about with video and live and everything that's kind of happening right now, there's been a debate before all this, before we were all virtual everything. There was a debate about going live versus recorded video. And I had always felt, and I still feel this way, is until you've gotten those reps in just filming video, like filmed video, then you can edit it, and getting good at that. It's hard to jump into a live thing like this. And I'm not talking about Zoom where you're having a meeting. I'm talking about if you're using video as your component to your marketing right now, you want to be able to first get comfortable with just filming video, filming it, doing a couple of takes, being able to edit, doing a few things like that, and getting comfortable speaking to a camera like this, and then looking at live, because live is like a Jack Russell Terrier on speed. You just have things popping and whatnot. So I have comments here right now popping up. You have old friends of yours who are jackasses mostly, and they come on here and they try to distract you. And then you have people like Sugar Jones here who loves live, but you're also great on camera anyway, Sugar. So it's different when people who get intimidated by video. And what I want people to know is to not get intimidated by video, but get the reps in each stage. You don't just want to jump in your first time video and going live on one platform, let alone 6 of them right now. So and speaking of video, so you can and speak to a camera and try it, and sometimes it works well. And hello, Mr. Bear, good to see you. And it's and this is the scary thing, right? When you learn live video and they kind of just jump in, but the thing is, like, the comments right now are flying in, and it looks. It's hard to keep up your topic that you want to talk about, because this kind of flies in like this. And so in my head, I'm hearing and I can turn that off, but that's the comments that are coming in. And that's it. Exactly. Right. It's scary at first, but you get the hang of it, but that's what reps are, right? Getting reps in for anything. You're never going to be as good as your next rep, right? It's always going to be every single rep you do in something. You get better through doing it, right? Through getting those things on. Like, I look at videos of me speaking on stage from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and I look at something from 6 months ago, and there's a drastic difference, and not in any conscious type of thing, but just getting comfortable. When you get comfortable with stuff, we start becoming more of our true, authentic self in video. We become that. And that's kind of the key with any kind of video like this, is that if you are your true authentic self, you have no competition. We have a lot of times where we try to do video where it's recorded, or where it's for a social media platform, or it's live like this, where we actually don't, we try to emulate others or mimic others. And it's fine looking at different videos. And I watched videos and forever. But looking and saying, oh, that's cool. That's how that works. And then so you're like, okay. You take that and you say, okay, I like how that looks, but then you got to go down. And here's the thing, though. Don't just spot check things and grab a couple things. Learn the stuff. So like with this right now, like, we hadn't come live on any platform until a few months into this kind of shutdown we are having, because you have to get the reps in. You have to be able to know what happens, because it's one thing just doing like this. You all kind of come on here and you say hello, and it's awesome, right? I'm not being paid to do this, and I'm not being, but it's still part of the brand. And you're always, whenever you're going live, you are representing the brand of you or your company, whatever that is. But you want to make sure that when you're doing this type of stuff, is you want to learn the actual basics. Like, if you know any photographers and you ask them and say, oh, how did you get that shot to look like that? And they kind of give you this look like, well, 17 years of trial and error, but because that's what wisdom is. Wisdom is simply time plus mistakes. And asking for tips is one thing, but asking people to do the work for you is another. Like, if you want to learn how to do some of this stuff, it's awesome asking for tips. It's great, but also be willing to do the work itself. I took Adrian Salisbury's course, or went through all of a series of YouTube videos to learn the ins and outs of Ecamm, which is the base of how I'm running this right now. It's how I flip between these type of things, where I go from here to here, right? It's learning Ecamm. It's learning that if I reverse the camera. So this is a mirror image of the camera. So when I'm talking this way, I'm looking at my Mac right now, but it looks like I'm looking at my slide. Okay, and that's a key thing as well, and that's a huge thing. So I'm going to answer a couple of questions that came in here right now. Isaiah says, amazing camera quality. What camera do you use? So this is the Canon 70D. It happens to be the one Canon camera that they never put any updates out or for something. I bought like the Enigma of all the Canon ones. So when they came out with, updates for this and the virtual cams and all these updates are going out. It was like never the 70D, but this is the Canon 70D plugged directly via USB into my Mac, which has been nice because a few months ago that wasn't the case and those updates didn't work as well. I also use Ecamm as a virtual camera going into Zoom and going into webinars because I can control it like this. But here's one of the things also learning. It is understanding what to do if it goes wrong. Okay, so if this camera goes out, which it has for a multitude of reasons, and you only learn that by going through that process, is you want to be able to, can you switch off? Okay, so if something goes wrong here and I'm live, let's say I'm talking to a client, or maybe I'm just doing this right now and something goes wrong, instead of saying, oh, well, forget it and bailing, that I can switch over very quickly to this camera right here and keep going. Okay, but that's through reps. Okay, this is my Logitech webcam right now, and I can flip over to, and it still looks good. It's not this, but it's still good. And that's when I can get by and do these things like this and keep going. And then you can also try to make out the notes that we have behind me right now. And so you have to be able to get into and do that trial and error and get the reps or have your own friends. And one of the things I did early on with all this too, testing going live, because you never really know if you're live or not, is testing and going live just to my personal Facebook page, only to me. And then I saw it, and I saw if there was a lag to it. I saw if there was going to be issues. So that was kind of what I was doing. I was being my own audience, which is kind of weird, I know. So Sugar says, serious question, do you have how-to program post or anything on setting up the multi-platforms? Really, if you go to restream.io, and it really walks you through it, where I'll plop over to this one again. So this is like, if you go to restream.io, it simply walks you right through. And then they walk you through connecting each one of these to it. And then you choose which ones you want to go live to, and you choose what gets said on each thing. So that's really what it is. I don't have anything down right now. I'm still working that out as we go. And Jeff says, test, fail, succeed eventually. And that's the hope. That's the goal. Not always the case, but hey, Stefan, is it Stefan? I don't want to get it wrong. I've seen Stefan and they say Stephen, but it's so please let me know if that's right. If you are only trying to stream into one location, would you still use restream.io or just Ecamm Live? It's a good question. I like some of the analytics that come through Restream. I like how some of that stuff works. So I'm not too sure because I haven't gone solely live to a platform using Ecamm necessarily. I have gone directly into Facebook and done it, but I usually will go direct if I'm going into. But see, with LinkedIn Live, which is what some people are watching on right now, you have to use a thing like Restream.io. You can't go live into LinkedIn, as far as I know. So that's one of the benefits of having this. Roger's Facebook while standing in line at a store. Oh, there you go. That's awesome. I'm going to introduce you all to Brant right here. So Brant is not only an awesome guy, one of my favorite people on the planet, but also he's a master of also learning this stuff and watching his virtual and the ability for, he saved me days, weeks, months in learning some of this stuff, and also one hell of a musician. So Brant, it's good to see you too. Thank you. Thank you for saying it looks great. Another question, did you try OBS? So there's the other software. So OBS, I tried years ago. OBS is that open source platform to be able to broadcast. I found the learning curve really steep. It's so many things you can do, but there's certain things. But now Ecamm itself also is a huge kind of learning curve. But I went through 14 videos of anywhere, 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, up to a half an hour, just to get it, learn it, and do the reps. So since I have the Mac here, that's why I use this one. Trevor says, is the image reversed or is the text in your shirt reversed? Never mind, you just flipped it to the Logitech camera. Yeah, so I reversed this image mainly because when I go into the slide, it allows me to talk and point to the slide. Now I can flip it around and do something else as well to make this work. But yeah, this is why it's mirrored right now. I chose to mirror it because if I switched it around, right, although I have my awesome Promote Love shirt, I'm flipped it around. So I know there's other workarounds for it, but I do like being able to do this. It works really well. It doesn't break the view too much. And one of the nice things about doing like a webinar like this. So I've done webinars like this. I've done this exact thing going into Zoom. And one of the nice things about this is this is a camera. So Ecamm uses it's called a virtual camera. So Zoom detects that as the camera. So everything I do in here in Ecamm is my camera feed. So I'm not switching to sharing a desktop or slides or PDFs. It's all within this right now. And the nice thing about this is I can play a video as well, and it's all still part of my camera. But for young people getting in or people getting into the field, now, never let anyone make you feel your opinion's not worth anything, because you will be made to feel that. Your knowledge will be intimidating because it's not the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to know. And there you go. Look at that. So there's a video that you can play as well, and it's all in here. And it's a nice thing to be able to control that and not trying to flip around and do those other things. So another one of my favorite humans. Did you get Stream Deck? Nope. I'm doing this with my mouse right now, so that's not. I know the Stream Deck would be really cool to have just in front of me. A Stream Deck being like you just press a button and it will flip over like this instead of me kind of looking over this way and clicking something else to my mic to be able to flip to this. So their Stream Deck would be cool to do, but we've just shut down all new purchases because being a speaker. Camera 1, camera 2. Of course, I'm doing the thing like from the. It's you look over here and you're like, oh, sorry, you look over here instead, and it's like the John C. Reilly thing. So so I'm not using Stream Deck. I'm just using my mouse with Ecamm, but yeah, I should be using the Stream Deck. Will be very cool, but budget cuts. You got to do budget cuts. And hello to Tam Munson. Good to see you. And yay! I got Stefan's name right. What did I say, Stefan or Stefan? Stefan. Oh, in Montreal. What's up? Good to see you up northeast of us here. Oh, yeah. So it's an interesting... Any beard braiding tips? I'm getting there during this COVID isolation thing as well. Thanks. It's... no, this is natural. This is how it flows. So I used to know to cut the beard once it started to feather out like this, and it's becoming problematic, but that's okay. Good questions. So Tom Smith says the third says, any idea when we'll get to see you live again, or is this the new normal? Well. No matter what, right now there is the normal as we knew. I don't think it's coming back. Whatever new version is going to be different, and I don't know when I will be back on a stage, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be a long time, and there's just bigger things to deal with than me being on a stage, and I love it. I love being on stage. I wanted to be a keynote speaker. Literally, I'm not making any of this up. Since I was 12, since seeing Les Brown on my tube TV in my living room. It wasn't mine. It was my parents. But watching that and seeing it just holding a whole room and mesmerizing them and seeing the art of Les Brown and his craft and realizing I could do that. And then the past 10 years, that's what I've done. And so I'd love the stage. I'd love to be on it, but it's just not the time. And there is no prediction. I'm not a qualified individual medically to give an opinion on when we think this is going to change and what will be the change and when. So, this is what it's going to be for a while for us and here in Canada, and we'll figure this out. So Kelly says, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. You and Allison are always so innovative. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of work to get to this point, and luckily, before all this, I had bought the Shure microphones. So we got two of them here for Allison and I, and we're looking at bringing back the show, the podcast, in this type of way, hopefully. So we're going to work a way that we can work real time kind of comments into the show, but also not make sure that we don't leave out people who want to listen to the show, the original, our 7 want to listen to it as well. So that's one of the downfalls of doing a video type thing where you're doing something visually. and that doesn't help with people who listen to the show. Also doesn't help with people who are visually impaired as well. So that helped answer partially of one of the 7 here, Steve's question about missing the podcast when I did when we return. So our idea was certainly we had recorded 4 new episodes at the start of March, and then right before they had come out, because we record them all at once a month, and then really COVID went up a notch and things started getting locked down, and it just wasn't important. The episodes we have, the 4 we still have there that aren't put out, is just, they're not important. They were recorded weeks before things really hit the fan here, and we just don't put out content for content's sake. It would come out as not reading the room. It wouldn't make any sense. So, and we wanted to do it when it's right, when we feel that makes sense. That there's just so many things going on in the world. I don't necessarily even feel right about being live right now, because there's so much going on. But I'm getting the reps in right now. We're trying to coordinate this type of stuff, because the best way to learn this stuff is to do them and to get those reps in. So I've been working on, this type of world where we can go and try this stuff out and say, okay, that didn't work. That did work. And that's what I'm trying to, make work right now. Does it work if there's some music in the background while I'm talking? Does it make people, chill out a bit? Do people enjoy it in the background? Is it distracting? I don't know. We'll see. And then there's people who I haven't talked to and seen in a long time. Hello, Star. It's been a very long time. I hope you're well. Speaking of the person I've known for a very long time, former Montrealer in that house, Melanie, good to see you as well. So a lot of questions. Well, we're working on it. It will come back. We love it too much not to. We just want to make sure it's the right time and the right topic. Rich is, what streaming platform are you using? So Rich, by the way, check him out. Rich is one of my favorite photographers out there. Not only for the photos he took of me and that we use, but also his content. It's just fantastic. And him just, like, I watched Rich do a live editing of a photo. I don't edit photo. I'm not a photographer. And I'm just like, I just loved it. And you're really good at content when you have somebody watching it that is not your relevant audience. There was no frame of reference for me, none of this. And I just enjoyed it. And I enjoyed Rich. He's a great guy. So sorry. I was gushing about you. So the platform we're using, this is Ecamm. I'm running it through for the kind of the air traffic control of it, and then this is being broadcast through Restream.io on 6 different platforms, as you can see here. So here's the 6 different platforms are going live right now too, and then I have like a chat catcher with Ecamm that allows me to pull your comment in and everybody else and figure out which ones I want to highlight. So yes. And hello, Jacqueline in Brazil. Good to see you. This is also the cool stuff. One of our hugest supporters, Tim here. You're loving the stream? Well, good. We love you, Tim. You're always supporting us. We really do appreciate that. Diana says, I'm pretty sure that's a Promote Love shirt. Love it and love Steph Grant. You're damn right. It's a Promote Love shirt. Oh, I'm even going to flip the camera around just so you can get it properly here. There you go. Our other favorite photographer out there, Steph Grant, who's also one of our favorite humans, started this company, the Promote Love movement. So I do love it. So yes, so Aaliyah says, thanks for this. Second, how are you doing? P.S. I missed the stage 2, the energy of the audience of all of it, but for now, grateful. Exactly. I live for that audience. You live for, and so much of this, right now is not, what I do. It's the comments are nice. They come in right now. You can see it, and seeing people say things like this is awesome. But I'm a performer. I'm a storyteller, and that's where that makes this difference. So I had to adjust my mindset when it came into speaking, and because I didn't want to do my keynotes like this, because they're set for a live room and an audience, and there's different things you can do in a room. And I realized that, I was trying to shoehorn in the keynote into this camera lens here, and I realized that my biggest value that I can do now is actually to bring it all down. Because if I go full blown Stratton like this, like I do on stage, people are just going to be like, I'm out of here. I got to go. So this has given me an opportunity in speaking to do a lot of virtual kind of talks that are not as keynote based, where it's certain set stories. It's 3 or 4 stories with points in between. I can really kind of drill down with different things and different topics and Q&As. We did one with Litmus Live and their VP of marketing, Cynthia, who's awesome. And we just did like a fireside chat. And it was so great because we got to talk about all different type of topics, and we can't do that in a keynote. And that's one of the downfalls of keynotes, which I love doing, is you don't usually get to do a Q&A. And I love being able to do that, answering questions and thinking on my toes. So Eva, did you have to bring that up? You really had to bring that up. I would have brought it up too. Yeah, I did fall off stage. I should be able to cue that up right now, but I don't think I have it on my Mac. I will next time, Eva. So thank you for that reminder. Neil says, I miss Moron Mountain. Yeah, so when we started the show, well done, Neil. Original, one of the 7 there. When we started the show, we had Moron Mountain, and we had the yodeling sound effect from the Price is Right game, and we walked brands up Moron Mountain, and the top one at Moron Mountain, the one who planted the flag, was Air Canada, and I still think they hold part of that title. So yeah, that's I'm glad you you do miss that. I miss that as well. Yeah, and Kirby says I do a lot of public speaking as well, not returning to live talks at least till 2021, and that's pretty much what I'm going by at this point. I don't see myself on a stage until a year from now, at least. But you plan for the worst, hope for the best. And Karen says, I look forward to the show being on video again like the early days. Yeah, us too. And this kind of gives us, one of the things about content too is that you can do multi kind of uses for this. So when I have this video right now, so you're watching live, and that's great. And I love the live and the ability, because it actually gives me also makes me feel like I have an audience, like a live audience, which is very, very cool and something I do miss. But what happens is, and then we have this, and then I have the recording. So Ecamm records this on the actual desktop here, and then I can splice the video up, or I can upload it as a recorded video. You can slice off the start if you want, where it's waiting for people to come in, or however it works. But it's also why I use this scene right here. I'm using this scene at the start because people start coming in a bit, and I'm just getting something ready. And so I play this for anywhere from 20 seconds to 30 seconds to a minute. I'll show you this right now. And that allows people to be, kind of coming in there. So that's cool. But it allows us then to take the video when we do the show, and we're planning on doing it, that we can go to all the platforms at once, and then also use the video, and also then pull the audio from that and upload that as the episode. So there's, you're looking for that almost multi-use of one piece of content, because you're in a world now where content kind of comes and goes so quickly. You better get, hopefully, some multi-use from it, because otherwise, this world now of creating content that's gone in 24 hours, I can't imagine. I can't imagine doing that at this point. It's got to be just so disheartening that any of you watching right now who may be in social media doing client work, or doing work if you're internally, in the company itself, and you spend so much time creating this content, and you put your heart into it, and your thoughts and your effort, and then in 24 hours it's gone. They're like, all right, do it again. You just like, I can't imagine. It's just, it's so much. Yeah, and I'm looking at this with Ben too. So Ben says there's a new technology through Rev, I believe, that allows you to have live real-time captions, so we can help those who are hearing impaired to be part of the conversation. It's an excellent point, Ben. So that's one of the things we're looking at right now, is trying to do the real-time captioning. And finding the plugins and stuff that allow us to do that for this, because that's a hugely important thing for us. The accessibility to the content. It's one of the reasons why we would upload SRT files to the videos on YouTube, and to be able to have that, have the captioning underneath as well. Yeah. So thank you, Ben. Thank you, you or yourself, and Ben, always a great supporter. Thank you again. Melanie says, "Got to run. This stuff is great. Keep going, Scott. You're inspiring so many. My vote. Keep going live. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, and this is really part of it, right? Is what is music for intro and hellos, and no music for important content, and exactly. But what happens, if I'm wrapping it up, and you're just like, you're like, so it's really nice seeing you all here, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed it, because it makes me feel like Mr. Rogers. Like we're getting ready to go, but before you go, here's one last thought. So it's like using it sparring like anything else. Don't overuse this stuff. Don't use these things because you can. Don't use a DJ air horn because you can. Be careful. Pretend it's PowerPoint and it's 1993. Just because you can make a typewriter animation of every single letter coming out, you don't need to do that for every slide or any bullet points. And frankly, using bullet points is a pain as well. Pavlina says, "Can you do lives on TikTok too? Hello from Cyprus." Well, and I would love to do this and go live using Ecamm to Instagram live and TikTok as well, but I haven't really figured that out. I saw one thing with Instagram stories or Instagram live. There's a workaround I've got you can use for it, but then it can get your account banned. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. Brian says, "I wore my Not a Jackass Whisper socks yesterday." Well, sweet. We have a couple pairs of those. You're welcome, Rich. Good to see you. Yeah, and Paula says, "I miss you chatting in my ear on my morning dog walks." Yeah, it's one of the nice things about having a podcast is that it's a very intimate kind of relationship with your listeners. You're usually in their ears. You're usually right there with them, and we didn't want to take that for granted, which was one of the reasons why we paused the episodes to figure out where we're going to go. Michael Barber says, "Just saying hello, miss you and your mug." I miss yours as well. One of the smartest marketers there is out there. If you don't know Barber stuff, I suggest you go and check it out. Yeah. Cat says, "Is this still live?" Hello. That's also one of the funny things about doing live, and then when it goes to a recording, is you as the creators of the content, we get notifications when people comment on it, and when some people will comment on it, a day or two later, as if it was live, and then you're just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because you think you're being ignored. And Kat, you certainly not being ignored. One of our favorite members of the Seven, and even more so, Kat Smith, who took our made-up words. We've done a lot of them in the past. It's one of the segments of our show, and she made a whole database of them for it, Kat. So thank you for that, as well as helped us out during the Jackass Whisperer book promotion as well. So yes, it is live, and thank you, Kat, for that. Carrie says, "Can you talk about your lighting?" Yeah, for sure, I can do that. I can actually show you. I'm going to switch over to the other camera here, and I'm going to show you the lighting. Hello. So this is the Logitech webcam, the 1080p webcam. So I'm going to show you my lighting right now. It's like the behind the curtain of the Wizard of Oz right now. So there's the ring light we got, and then you have a little bit of the ceiling light in the background there. But these lights over me are not on, and then I have this one light here that's filling up the back wall to light that. So it makes sense. And then these are all the kind of the brainstorming papers we put up recently. I get to show you my armpit. That was awesome. Oh, and then I'll show you the Logitech. So the one, and this is I know you asked about my lighting, but this is the webcam I was just showing you there. But it's pretty Kirby. It's pretty basic. It's a ring light, and then that's an LED light. It's a kind of like a fill light for the background for it, and I can turn this one off. All right. So it just, but there's shadows in the background too. So I actually. And also one of the nice things about Ecamm is that I can change the brightness. So right now I'm coming in a little dark right now, and I can either adjust that light or I can kind of pull in with Ecamm, and has all the sliders for the camera as well. So it depends on what I feel like, doing at the time. So yeah. Well, yeah, and I guess it's a great point, Carolyn. Is it this? Maybe those are the type of stories you're supposed to be telling right now, low key Q&As, and exactly that. That's really where we're going with it, and what we are going to do with it is even how I tell stories, though. Like even how I tell stories at this point is, even when I tell the same stories I would tell on stage for a keynote, I take it way down because it is very different. It's a different, intimate kind of setting. People are watching this a lot at home or on their phones or with earbuds, and me flying off the handle is a lot. Also, I would go out of frame a lot, but yeah. So Adon says, I appreciate you taking the time to really consider everything. Too many people through this try to shove their live demo training, et cetera, into Zoom, and it's not the same. Well, yeah. And I also, I don't blame people for doing it. It's, in my industry in speaking, right? We've been working, doing the reps and getting the time. You have a lot of people in speaking who this was their moment. This was their breakthrough, and they were getting that momentum, and it stopped. And so you look at where you can transfer your skills, the things you've been doing the reps in, because every time you talk about something, it's a little bit better. And so I certainly don't blame people in the industry for doing it. It's also, it's how you make a living. And when that living goes away, you've got to find other ways. And my issue is kind of the guarantees. If you don't know the software well and then it doesn't work, people would say, well, everybody's forgiving it right now. And yeah, sure. For a Zoom meeting for a bunch of staff who aren't usually doing that, sure. But if you are a professional speaker, then the key word there is professional. We got to make sure we're at that point that we can do that, which is why I also don't charge the same for a virtual keynote or a talk that I do a live in-person talk. I don't think the value is the same because really, if it truly is about the attendees, they're not getting the same value because you're not right now. You're just not. And so that's why we charge certainly different for that. Anthony has something here. So Anthony says, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so we can see it. I did an experiment with background music during a virtual keynote presentation. I really should read this way so it looks like I'm reading it right under me. Actually, I can go into it. I did an experiment with the background in the virtual keynote. And found a survey that the audience, 30% of respondents hated it and found it distracting. 40% liked it with some feeling it added mood to the presentation. 30% didn't even notice it was there. Yeah, that sounds about right. And it's like anything. Just use it with the great kind of, small doses as you go. Yeah. And this is, it really is. Hey, Randy, good. I'm glad you like it. I do like this as well. How are the comments getting on the screen? Is in StreamYard for Facebook, you have to give them permission. Yeah, so right now this is, although there's a download you can use for StreamYard that pulls the comments up that you can see them all in different ways, I'm using Ecamm pulling those comments in through Restream.io and putting it there and then giving different permissions. So it depends on the individual because I'm going live right now to my personal Facebook page and to the UnMarketing Facebook page. And it depends on permissions. So, it depends on what we're doing. So yeah, this is Ecamm. I'm using Ecamm for the software on my Mac. And then I'm sending this through Restream, which is then sending it through 6 different kind of platforms, kind of as this goes. Question, Kat says, production question, is that a green screen behind you? I haven't been able to not have my headphones and mic blend into the green screen, so I'm curious what you use. No, it's not a green screen. That's my wall of bad handwriting. That's what that is. It's a wall of bad handwriting. So I can try to do green screen right now, right here. Let's see if I can do that with this. Let's see if it can work here. Hang on a second. What's going on? Yeah, so that's me trying to do green screen right there within Ecamm. Yeah, so I actually have a green screen here, an actual green screen over the side that I haven't used yet. But it makes sense because one of the debates here was, what would you do doing a talk? Because one of the things we had found that was a problem was, talking in like Zoom or a GoToWebinar or any kind of platforms like that, is if there are slides, the speaker will be like right in the corner, real small box and giant slide. And unless the slide is really information rich or that's the thing, it's like, well, either get your video out of the corner, it doesn't work, or try to do it. So originally I was going to come in and green screen like this and kind of be part of the slide over here, but I think it's too distracting. And I really like this and the circle, that it gives me some space underneath to put my thing there, or I can put like, a Litmus here, that I did something with Litmus recently, and I can put their logo under mine. So I liked having that underneath because I could do stuff with that. And then it leaves me with this side. You have to reformat the slides and everything, and then you reformat to keep this area open, and then I can do kind of different slides in here. And that's really what kind of helped me with that. And so I haven't done the green screen. I find the green screen, you're right, because it does stuff with the mic, and these are our mics, and I can put the mic kind of out of the screen a bit, but these mics are meant for being pretty close because you want to also get the sound as well. Simpler. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah. And Marie Pierre says, live streams and webinars saved us retail and e-com camera store during the lockdown for sure. I would bet. I'd be lucky to find a webcam right now, or a lot of cameras. So it certainly was a mad rush for us. One of the reasons why we don't have the Stream Deck thing, because they were just all sold out everywhere as well. So I'm glad that helped you for the store. That's good to hear. Thank you, sir. Great seeing you, even though it's not an event. I look forward to your podcast when they run again. Be safe. Likewise, you as well. Yeah, we do love our listeners of the podcast, and we are coming back with it. And it's just timing wise that we're going to do that. Yeah, thank you, Andy. And Andy says the free stream looks good on this dude, and the camera is great. Thank you. That's the goal here, is to make it, be able to look that way and to make it work in the way that you want it representing your brand, because that's the thing. So Steph says, is this being taped? I would like to share it with my colleagues. It's a live, so the broadcast then will be archived on wherever. So you're watching this on LinkedIn, you'll be able to find it within my profile with the activity. Yeah. I think it's one of the issues with LinkedIn Live is kind of once it goes off live, it doesn't get pushed too much anymore, and that's an issue. But it'll be there as well. Or you can just send me a message as well, Steph, and I'll find you the link for it as well if you want to show it to other people. So it's good. Scott is watching from Mississauga. It's right down the road from us. So hello, good to see you. Y'all ain't gonna let this go, are you? For those that know my hatred of QR codes. Rich says, I've been seeing the resurrection of QR codes. Do they still kill kittens, or they finally found their place with the built-in QR scanners in our camera? Yeah, if, like I said, a decade ago almost, if it was, part of the iOS, it was part of the part of the camera itself when it comes out and recognize them, it would be a whole different story. It only took a pandemic for QR codes to be used properly. So yeah, look, I'm going to state this again. I have no problem with QR codes. I think they're a wonderful technology. I have the problem with how we use them, of how we rolled them out, and how marketing used them without any thought of a consumer actually using it as well. So, Ryan says, and hello, Ryan. We found background music on the pre-recorded video only worked. Good to hear your voice, and it's good to see you on here, Ryan. Thank you. So it says, which app platform is collecting these from across platforms? So again, Ecamm is the software I'm using on the Mac. Restream.io is what it's streaming to, and then it pushes it out to all platforms. And then Ecamm is catching those comments back from Restream across all platforms as well. So hopefully that answers some question. And thank you, Marilyn. I do love using the voice. And yes, it says a great quality picture. You must be using a DSLR. Kamari says this. And if that is not the pronunciation of your name, please let me know. This is the Canon 70D that's being used. And Joel put it up. Yes, this is Ecamm. This is what I'm using for Ecamm Live. Thank you, Joel, for putting that up. And it is Mac only as well. And it's one of the nice things about going on multiple platforms here is you have people from all different places. So, you know, we have Joel here on LinkedIn. We have Trisha here saying, what's up, who I know from high school. I met during your Frosh week. So that's awesome. Good to see you. So Joel says, how do you focus on the camera? I find I look anywhere but the camera. Well, that's reps. And one of the reasons why I know I should be looking at this camera right now is because I would watch myself on camera, or I would watch other people on camera and say there's a detachment there if I'm not addressing the camera. And so you got to be careful, because one of the things about comments coming in right now is because I'm breaking that. So when I break that, I'm looking away, and that's not a good thing. You should follow, go check out Mark Bowden and Tracy Thompson's content on body language, because it's phenomenal, and I wouldn't do any of it justice if I brought it up right now. But this works for me, and works. But you also have to be careful, because I also have jazz hands a lot. I flail a lot, and you got to be careful when you move to a slide that you stay within the circle. Because usually I'd be flying like this, but this is one of the improvements I worked on here just recently, was because I do this a lot, my hands are going away. Right, I realize that when I'm doing video versus on stage, I try to force myself to point this way, to go this way versus outwards, because then it'll keep it in frame as much. And I really have expressive hands, and so that is, you're working in the confines of this circle or whatever you put here, because you can also change this, because in the settings here you can actually change the way this appears in the actual setup from a square. Hello. You can do a square. You can do the round like I was doing. You can change it to tall. Like, it's all depending on how you want to do this. I just like the circle better, but I don't mind the square, but like this. But I still think the circle's nice to pop into. But you got to practice them within that, because you want to. If you go off screen, or this goes this way or whatever, it's not lined up. It detaches the experience for people. And I try to practice with this. Now, there's a depth of field to this lens, so when I come with my hand closer, it's blurry, but that's also, it's a cool effect. And really, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to look cool, I think. What's up, Eric? Good to see you. Sorry, I didn't mean Eric. I meant Erica. It's because you did Scott. I don't know how to do the consonant ending with it. Good to see you, Eric. Yeah, and thank you, Rich. I think there's a need to guide businesses on how to market properly now more than ever. And yes and no, because it's also marketing right now versus what it'll be like in a little bit down the road. So I do think there's a new thing, and we're looking at our books and what we can put out next for a different. But things change so fast, and also there's a lot of stuff happening in the world right now that you don't want to do. So Andrew says, I still want to access LinkedIn Live. Yeah, it took me a while to get it. I love it. I've been focusing on platforming, which is one of the things we talk about in a couple of the books, where if you're going to grow a platform, you got to live on it and focus it. And LinkedIn for me has been the past year and a half, 2 years. Once they got into more of a social media site with the content and how it was working, I really focused on LinkedIn. Ginger says, how difficult is it to manage comments on all 6 sources during the live? Well, I don't. It's one comment thing right now. I have one comment screen right now, and that's it. Because Ecamm has a comments pulling in from Restream, which streams to 6 platforms, into one comment. Now, although you see the logo here in the comment itself with the icon with Facebook, it's as difficult to manage as it is one stream of comments, which is the nice thing about using Restream. Dean says, how important are backgrounds? How much thought do you give it? I've become obsessed with Room Raider. Well, one of these things is you can obsess a lot. We obsess on lighting, we obsess on sound, we obsess on the look. And I actually had this before with none of these sheets up. I didn't put these sheets up because they look good in the background. Put these sheets up because we were brainstorming something a few days ago. And I'm like, screw it, they're staying up right now. And first and foremost is the content and getting the reps and being able to do it and focusing on what you want to do and being able to be speaking to camera. I don't care what kind of camera you have. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it switches over from a DSLR like this or going to a Logitech webcam. You want to get used to practicing like this. You want to get used to speaking to an audience of 1 or 0 or 1,000, doing a camera, and then also being able to pull in comments like this when you see it without breaking it too much, because I pull this in right now, but I still had to look over. But you want to be flexible, but you got to get the reps. It's the reps that count. It's the reps that do these things that make it work. At least so when something goes wrong, we can do something about it versus kind of panicking. Oh, good. Kamara, I got your name right. Awesome. Chris. So Chris wants to know, what are clients saying about conferences for 2020 or 2021, shelf plans or plan for the best and prepare for openings? Well, there's a difference between what some events are doing and what I'm doing. It's, the events that we had originally for the spring shifted a lot of their things to the fall, or some moved to the new year. But that was also kind of, I think, a lot of it was panic rescheduling. So it wasn't even, we're not sure about the date. We're just moving it along. And I don't see anything until next year. I really don't. I don't see myself getting on a plane anytime soon. And this is from somebody who would fly 150,000 miles a year. I don't see a plane in my future for another year or so. And, we can all decide, we decide this. And the problem is my business. So not all speaking, but my business of keynoting conferences, my main conferences are 500 attendees and up indoors. It's going to be the last thing that comes back is large indoor gatherings. I honestly believe that. I think we all need to listen to people who are not me about this, that we need to listen to qualified medical individuals telling us what they think, what they predict. The only predictions that matter is the people who understand this stuff. And from all things I've seen, we're in for a long haul here. And so plan for the worst, hope for the best. Eric says, your Rona beard is amazing. Eric, this is not my Rona beard. This is my natural state. This is actually the longest it has been. This is not Rona hair and Rona beard. This is just Thursday. I know a lot of people have that, but no, this is just me. This is no difference appearance-wise. So it works. So great technique here, Ginger. So she says, I just taped a photo of one of my kids on my camera for maintaining eye contact. It really helps very much. That's a cue. If you put a Post-it note on something or look here, because one of the problems with because this is not over my Mac right now, because my Mac is to the left. But if I change this camera, one of the technique or one of the issues you have a lot of times is you're looking at it, but what you're really doing is looking at yourself. Because I'm looking at myself right now. And I know I like looking at myself, but you want to look here. So one of the nice things about having an external camera too is I have to look at it because it's away from the computer, which is a nice touch for me. But that really is reminding yourself to look at the camera and putting the camera at a good angle and a good level, not looking down too much, not looking up too much, but trying to get it basically at eye level here is what we try. So AJ says, Scott, the D7, yep, it's the 70D. What lens do you have on it? Greetings from sunny Amsterdam. We love us in Amsterdam. I love that city so much. For other reasons than why you're guessing. A lot of times, gorgeous place. Love it. So this is the, let me check actually. I'm going to stand up. Luckily I'm wearing some sort of pants, but I'm going to take a peek at it. Hang on. Always remember if you're wearing pants. This is the 50 millimeter 1.4 f-stop, I think you call it. Anyways, it's got the depth of field on it, so I really like the lens. I like how it works. There's no zoom on it. It's just kind of set. And the camera right now, I'm going to flip around to you and flip around and show you this with the other camera again. So that camera is probably about 6 feet from me, so it is properly socially distant from me. And and then we moved everything to the basement. So this is our basement right now, and we had it up in our front kind of room, kind of our office, and we moved it all downstairs because of this camera and everything else and all the cords. The basement we have it closed. None of the pets come downstairs, and a lot of people, so no walking by hitting cords. So we moved it down here, which also gives us a lot more flexibility. And if the doorbell rings, it's not a bad thing. Steph says, what is a book or blog on body language? Oh, I'm going to find that right now. Hang on a second. I want to make sure I'm going to bring it up here. I'm actually going to see if I can pull it in so I can have it. Yeah, I'm going to use this one. So it's Truth and Lies. I love it. If you go to a site, go to truthplane.com, and everything they have there is incredible, but I would go to it. I'm going to see if I can screen share right now, although it never usually works right. There it is. All right. So, yeah, it's just search up Mark Bowden and everything he does. Just consume it all the time. So then Joe wants to know, interesting to hear your take on the green screen versus picture-in-picture. It's to each their own, really, at this point. It depends on what you want to do and what you do with the content itself and where it goes and what you're trying to do. If you're doing slides, if you're doing video, if you're doing whatever it's going to be, you want to make sure that it works for your whatever you're trying to do, your talk or your live like this or your webinar. It depends on the use. Oh, and thank you for, of course, make the kids tea. That's what's most important right now. Oh, look, there's spam on it. My God, I have spam on here. Why would you? Oh, all right. Don't you know who I think I am? Anyway, so it's about an hour now. So I'm glad this all worked. I enjoy having. Oh, look, watch! I can do it. As I leave you today, I just want you to relax. No, but honestly, I do. It's something that right now is things are crazy, and take care of yourself. Give yourself some time, and be good to yourself too. Cut yourself some slack right now, and focus on what's important. Focus on your family. Focus on all that stuff. And I love the music. It makes me feel so good. And take care of each other's, and do well. And Black Lives Matter. Take care, everybody. We'll see you when we come on here next, and hopefully Allison will join me next time.